welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me, Josh Mansfield, on this Thursday, April 24th. We've got a special show for you today. We're going to be talking with Jussi Meresmaa. He's the event director for the upcoming World Championships over in Finland. First time we're going to have a Worlds outside of North America. And Josh, I mean, the hype has been just like building and building for this tournament.
It's unreal.
People can't even get people trying to buy VIP tickets and can't get them.
Yeah. They're on the secondary.
They've already
market
sold like so many.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
It's a combination of just like how well like they've run this event or run the European Open in Nokia, and paired with the fact that you have two of some of the best courses in the world that people know and love that are going to be in, hosting this World Championship, and the first time in Europe. There's so many things that are just contributing to why it's so hyped and going to be just an awesome event.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. They still got some stuff out there. They can get the little World's 18th Green restaurant VIP ticket for Saturday. How much are these tickets? They are 169 euros. Grants you a reserved seat at a table near the iconic 18th green. Enjoy a VIP lunch complete with dessert and coffee. And you have your own viewing area right at the edge of the 18th green. And you get all of the other VIP viewing areas as well. You get a merch item and parking. It's not bad.
Not bad. They're going to sell out.
This is going to be wild. Anyway, super excited to talk to Jussi. We're going to talk Worlds plenty. We're going to talk Discmania. We're going to talk state of the industry. Has long been one of the most interesting people to interview in disc golf, going back a decade. So he joins us next. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. The Octothorpe is now newly redesigned for 2025. The goal with the Octothorpe's design was to combine the comfort and durability of a mountaineering pack with the functionality of a disc golf bag. Pound achieved that goal by applying design techniques, material selection, and quality standards that continue to set the bar today. The bag is now redesigned. It's been improved in every aspect, and it's got a lot more stability and a better shoulder pad attachment system. It is the most comfortable, durable, and well-made disc golf backpack in the sport. Pre-order yours now at pounddiscgolf.com. Shipping next month. Joining us now on the Upshot is the event director for the 2025 Pro World Championships, Jussi Meresmaa. Jussi, always great to have you. Welcome back.
Thank you, Charlie. Always a pleasure.
So I got to say, it's just been a nonstop trickle of extremely interesting and exciting news out of Worlds. I just saw in the Multi-World Disc Golf Discord 5 minutes ago that the VIP tickets for the final day, the second drop of tickets just sold out. And it feels like we're on pace for this to be the biggest tournament that we've ever seen from an attendance standpoint. I think that's kind of where I want to start. Like, how good have the ticket sales been? And are you starting to get worried at all about literally not having enough space for everybody who's going to be coming to this tournament?
Well, first of all, it's been absolutely amazing to follow the interest going up and up for the first ever Worlds outside the North America. And I mean, we have a pretty extensive history of running a professional major event. So when we went into this project a little more than a year ago, we knew kind of what's going on and what's going to happen, but even then everything has been exceeded. And especially for the spectators' perspective, we have this challenge that you know well, that we can't really gate the Nokia course completely. So it's going to be open for public even for the final round, most part of it. So that's when we started to create these VIP areas a few years ago. So we wanted to kind of create a better experience for a certain, category of people who wants to pay for it. So we've been incrementally increasing that. And now, as you said, I didn't actually know that, but that's good news that if we sold out. But we kind of increased it 2 times over already in the last 6 months, our VIP capacity. So we've been designing new areas, bigger spectator, grandstands and restaurant areas for this event, just to accommodate the need and the request of all people. And it's been very, very surprising that people are almost like flocking into this tournament.
Do you know how many tickets you've sold of any level, like just a count of people who have paid money to come see this tournament at this point?
Yeah, I don't know exact number now on top of my head, but obviously we kind of ran everything through our capacities. So Tampere, for example, is going to be a gated and ticketed event. So every person there will be having a tickets, and we are limiting that to approximately a little less than 2,000 people, just because the Tampere area and the course is completely different from Nokia, and we really don't want to basically push the spectator experience low. We want everybody to enjoy the game, enjoy the great golf that they're going to see. So it's going to be limited under 2,000. But what comes to Nokia, we only sell VIP tickets. So only tickets that you can buy to Nokia is some level of the VIP treatment, with including the player package or the event package, the food, and obviously access to certain areas. And I think that we have actually introduced a pretty interesting ticket type for this year, Worlds, called the front row. So that ticket type already sold out in last year. Actually includes a trifold chair with the Worlds logo, and you're going to get behind the players, obviously with our crowd control, and you can actually see everything from your own seat on every hole. That's pretty cool. And then behind the front row, we have the ticket type called fairway. So then we can take another additional bunch of people behind them, following the players along the fairways. Plus, on top of that, we have called Area VIP, which is obviously getting an access to the VIP areas, but not on the course, on the fairway. So those 3 ticket types combined, I think our VIP capacity in Nokia will be around 1,000 people.
What's your projection? And I know it's not really possible because you're not selling tickets for the general public admissions to the Beast rounds, but what's your general expectation for how many people are going to be on site, let's say, for the final day?
Well, we should have a Steve Dodge here to calculate all that, but I have too much hair for that. So I would say everything has been double or triple compared to us when it comes to the partnerships interests, media interests, spectator interests. So I'm expecting also that the non-paying spectator interest to be double or triple, which would lead that we would probably have 10 to 15,000 people come on Sunday.
Are you like?
Josh is stunned.
I've never been to the course in Nokia. I've never been to the Beast. So my question is like, do you have the space to put 15,000 people?
You need to come and see. I don't know. I mean, Nokia as a place is great because you can fit 15,000 people on that area. Obviously, not everybody will have a good site, but it's possible. And we are working really hard with the city of Nokia and all our volunteers and our crowd control people to basically make this happen, because this is kind of the challenge that you want, but you don't want, because you don't know how many people will come. And I mean, we will probably almost double the population of Nokia on that day. So it's going to be very interesting, challenging. we're actually closing roads in the city center area for this. So
Wow.
I'm feeling pretty confident that we can pull this off. But of course, there is always kind of a thought that what if? But I mean, we need to see that. It's 98 days.
I mean, the hype is real. I mean, there's people talking about flying over from the U.S. I see people trying to buy, they're like looking for tickets, secondhand market. It's also like, airline tickets have been surprisingly affordable to Finland and that part of the world from at least the East Coast U.S. So it's like not unreasonable to make the trip. I want to, speaking of airfare and just, some of these tickets, you have these 7-day world's luxury experience tickets that were 15,000 euros. How many of those did you end up selling? And like, did you anticipate actually selling these tickets, or were you like, let's just throw this out there and we'll see if anybody bites?
Yeah. Well, the ticket is real, and we actually sold 2 of those. So we doubled the sale that we expected. The first idea was obviously, okay, let's do something outrageous that no one will buy, but it's going to be a good press and media, and that's how we went. And surprisingly, they sold out, and it's just a testament of, I think that we're now starting to find kind of the formula of, okay, how to monetize certain things and experiences, because I've learned that there is always somebody who is willing to pay almost anything for a certain experience. I mean, it's a very personal thing. So I would encourage all the other bigger events to create these a little higher priced packages, not necessarily 15,000, but something that kind of gives that separation. But obviously, we do have a private driver, and we have a private van, and we have everything set for these people. So we're definitely going to cater them up to their biggest expectations, I would say. So it's important also that you will actually, walk the walk. So I'm really excited to see how this will play out. And I mean, there is definitely an increased demand of higher price point tickets for disc golf.
We have a couple of questions that have come over from our Discord as well, and the one that I'm curious about as well. What is the status of hole 16 and the bunker rule?
We have had a really good and long talks with the PDGA. Well, I can probably break the news here. I don't think that there is no limits for that. So let's start with that we definitely wanted to bring that as an original rule, because I think that's the history of the event, the drama of the last, holes, accumulating on that one island shot. And unfortunately, we didn't get through exactly what we wanted, but obviously PDGA accommodated us with the best, possible way, in my opinion. So there will be no drop zones on that hole, and we're going to play like a normal OB rule from the tee. So basically, this is now creating probably even a bigger blowout if you go OB on the tee in a really bad spot, and then you try to land the island, because the island will have the normal island rule. You need to land and stay in the island in order to process into the island. So it's going to be a very decision-making hole again for this tournament.
So if you throw for the island, you cross the island, you land OB, you're now taking it at the edge of the OB with a meter off the island?
No, you're taking the fairway all the way up to the fairway when it went out. So
got it.
So AB
it doesn't
would have
count
gotten to
as
advance to the edge of the fairway.
Yeah, AB would have actually got bigger number.
You're right, because he's now taking extra penalty strokes instead of just the bunker single.
Yeah, but obviously
shots.
he would have a closer shot on the next one. So we never would know that. But obviously this still creates the potential blow up on that hole. But also I really wanted to, I mean, if you have a par 4 island hole, I don't think that there should never be an option that you can miss 2 shots and have a par. Like, it doesn't work well.
Right.
So you need to make the island, and I think that's the essential for this hole, and that's what we got, and I'm happy for that.
All right. Very interesting. It seems like a fair compromise. What do you think, Josh?
Yes, I am fine with these terms because the pressure of going OB once. Yes, you get to advance. Like AB would get to go up closer and throw a closer shot, but to Yuzi's point, like it's more strokes for it as well, so it's more penalizing to go for it when you're out of position. And then yes, you get put in position, but now you've already missed one, and so like the rattle factor is still there, the pressure point is still there, and you missed that island twice, and like poof. I mean, that's
You're
a bigger
cooked.
number. That's an 8 at least.
Yeah, I mean, the left front side of the fairway OB is still almost 300 feet away. So if you go sidearm and you miss the island, you are going to be like 300-ish feet from the island. So it's not an easy shot anyway to make.
It's going to be interesting to see how people play it, because in some ways, because it's OB rules now, people might want to be more conservative compared to bunker rules, where they might say, well, I'm just going to play up the fairway to make it a 200-foot shot and then chip up onto the green.
Mm-hmm.
But I think final day still creates the reward of needing to go for it.
It's going to be great.
That keeps it an intriguing hole. So it is not the bunker rule. I love the bunker rule. I think the bunker rule is so unique and fun, but I'm very happy with this compromise. So
what else can we expect to change from the course perspective? Broad strokes. You don't have to take us through every little detail, but are there going to be many changes compared to last season's EO?
Not really. I mean, my goal has always been trying to standardize things. Obviously, we want to fix things that are not working well. For example, the tees, we will make a lot of work for those tees. But what comes to the layouts, I would say the Nokia layout is going to be 99% the same than you have seen. And Tampere, we are actually having some changes. So we are going to have a couple of new, longer tees or more difficult tees for the MPO that we are currently building and renovating. But all in all, it's going to be pretty close to the same. Of course, we're going to have some more spectator areas cleared for the event, but they don't really interfere the game or the layout.
Someone asks what's going to happen to the Beast after this event is concluded. I think we've talked. I know this has been talked about, but just to bring back to that, what's the kind of plan with the Beast after the tournament's over?
So this was the last minute we were able to have this tournament on the Beast as it is. So after this, I think already in the next few weeks they're going to start building the new swimming hall complex right next to the hockey center, which obviously will close down the park as it is now for at least a year or two. So we're not going to come back to the Beast as it is as now ever. But my goal is obviously that the park will be serviceable for the bigger events come 2027 and beyond, but that's really not in my hands, so I don't have much information to share at this point. But one thing is for sure, that when those last groups are walking up to the fairway 18, those are the last people, game in PDGA event to play that hole, and then we're going to have this very special Monday Final Beast spectator round. So those are actually the very last people are playing the whole 18 as it is.
Wild. Well, I have to ask you then, because this is random chance that this announcement came out right before this interview, but this morning, the PDGA and the European Disc Golf Festival announced a big multi-year agreement to bring Worlds to Estonia in 2029, and then there's going to be majors there in Estonia in 2026 and 2028. My assumption is that means we won't have European Open in 2026 and 2028. But I would like to ask you, what does this mean for the European Open and how things are going to kind of play out in Europe at the kind of like high level major level?
Yeah, you're correct, Charlie. So next year, the European Major will be played in Estonia with the team of Silvers and Ralph, and I'm super happy for those guys because they are putting a lot of work and effort. They're actually pushing the envelope of the tournament scene, and I'm really happy for them. So they are running the great show there, and they are deservingly having the European Major next year. I would say that I mean, I'm in a spot where I need to basically run this event, because this has been my goal for over a decade. And then I openly said to the PDGA that, okay, I need to take a break after this event of arranging things, because obviously we can't run event next year anyway. I don't want to take it to Tampere with the very limited areas and spectators. I need to really see what the Nokia will be in the future in order to make my decision, even if I want to, push this, because I feel that even our, courses are great, but if the Nokia course is going to be more limited that we are afraid, it might be even impossible to run an event there. So I need to give me and everybody a 1 year break to even understand the situation and make my decisions after that.
Is there a world in which you decide that you just don't want to run this tournament anymore and that this is the end of this run?
The European Open, you say? Yeah, there is a world of that, definitely, because it basically relies on the, decisions of what city of Nokia is making with the area. Because I've seen, obviously, I'm part of the, steering or planning committee. I can't really disclose all the options, what they have there, but there are good and not so good options for the future of the disc golf in Nokia. Of course, the park will stay playable for tournaments, but I don't know if that's going to be my caliber. So then obviously we're going to look into the Tampere, and Tampere fortunately is a great location, and these worlds will tell me quite a lot how the future could be there, because obviously these tournaments are very expensive to run. So you really need to understand where the revenue streams and what kind of revenue streams you're able to pull off. So I would say that I'm happy to answer that question come next spring.
It would be, sorry, Josh. It would be financial malpractice for the city of Nokia not to make sure that you can keep running this tournament. Like, they're going to see what happens when 15,000 people show up to their city and spend millions of dollars in their economy. How would you not want to make sure that keeps coming back? I think this will probably be very influential once they see what's actually happening here.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think we estimated. We made some research last year with our, spectators with the research company, and I think that it will be estimated 4 to 5 million euros, like an economic impact for this event.
For a town of 10,000-ish people.
The whole area. So let's be fair that the disadvantage of Nokia getting all this, travelers' money is not good, because they only have like one hotel, right. and I would say 95+% of the people will not stay actually in Nokia. They're staying in Tampere. But of course, all the small businesses and all the supermarkets are having their best week come, late July, early August.
Yeah, man, that's crazy to think that like a recreation swimming pool would displace an event like that. As a city official myself, I think that decision is crazy. But
you should write a letter for them.
I will. If that would help you, see, I will write a letter. I'll let you translate it into Finnish.
To whom it may concern, I am a city councilor in Pocatello, Idaho. A town that is probably bigger than Nokia.
Probably.
Yeah, well, to be fair, one of the higher ups of the city of Nokia, like a technical director who is overseeing most of these things, He was part of our delegation last year in Virginia. So they are actually really committed to disc golf, and they really are starting to understand what does this means. But obviously, well, Josh, you especially know that it's always politics.
Yeah, it is. And for people who live there year round, the idea, if you're not a small business owner to that point, you probably don't fully grasp the value of what an economic impact of an event like that has. It's very easy to tangibly understand what a swimming pool in your community looks like.
Yeah, and there is all different angles. So of course we receive plenty of also negative feedback during our events and after. And I specifically remember one feedback where this person was very mad about this tournament because the tournament is taking 2 weeks of her and her dog to get into the park. And she was telling everybody that very detailed explanation how her dog is miserable during those 2 weeks because the dog cannot go into the dog's favorite park. So there is a lot of angles of these discussions, but sometimes you need to do big things and sometimes you hurt feelings of the dogs or everybody. So that's kind of the combination of running a big event in a small town. That's what you get always.
Yeah, it makes sense. It is politics. That is for sure. You are right about that. You see,
what Estonia, we know that last year the government put hundreds of thousands of euros into the event, and that's probably only going to go up with this big new announcement with the PDGA as they have a couple majors. They're going to be a Pro Tour event one year, and then the Worlds in 2029. One of the things, and I just want to get your perspective on it, right? Like, obviously, from an event side, they seem incredibly capable, and it was like this big pomp and circumstance, and the stage, and the smoke machines, and this huge festival grounds. But the course was kind of mediocre at best. I mean, easily the worst course we played in Europe. Will probably be the same this year.
Pales.
Is there enough, like, in your opinion, to support like professional disc golf event from the competition side in Estonia? I know you're not really involved, but just from what you've seen and what you know of this.
I don't know if we have discussed about this, but there was a time 10 years ago when I was planning the World Tour, and that was actually one of our locations, and we were going to have an event there in 2016 until the Adam Lambert World Tour kind of ran over us.
Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. American Idol, for those who maybe don't remember that name.
That's a story of its own. But basically what happened is that we had already agreement of that place. But obviously I was too green at the time. So I wasn't reading all the details of the agreement of how they can actually break the agreement. So of course, when Adam Lambert's tour came to the same week, they basically just broke the contract and paid us like $1,000 or $1,500 to walk away from that contract and let me in a very difficult situation when short notice. So I learned that from that Adam Lambert case 10 years ago. But yeah, the area was then already like not enough, but obviously I already saw kind of the stadium like potential, and I mean, we're doing this also for the spectators, not only for the players, obviously. But now when they have this, Worlds 29 project, I think that they definitely need to look outside of those area fences. I know that there is a lot of areas around and pretty close, but that's kind of the biggest limitation of that area, and you can't really get away from that. I mean, especially if you think about 4 years from now, how much longer the average drive will be. It's going to be 10, 15, 20 feet, even more, like a distance-wise requirement to have a great hole in a way for the player talent. So that's going to be their biggest challenge, in my opinion. You mentioned the governmental support and stuff like that. So we're also enjoying some governmental support for the first time for our tournament. And I can also see the national level interest for this event growing. So this is a big deal for Finnish, sports in general, but nothing compared what it's going to be there in 29. I think that my estimation is that their event is potentially the second biggest event in the whole country of that year, behind the rally championship, which is the way bigger than anything else there.
And in terms of just like an entertainment event, period.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, they have big concerts, but sporting event. I mean,
I've been seeing clips from an urban disc golf league that like they take players and they're like throwing around like warehouses and stuff. That's what Estonia needs to do. They just need to put baskets like in the middle of the streets, and you just play up and down alleys and stuff. And there you go. You've got a one of a kind world championship, right? You see, we've got a couple people who've asked different variations of questions, but I kind of want to just get a holistic take from you. This is slated to be the biggest world championship and the biggest disc golf event in the history of our sport. How, when you talk about disc golf in Europe versus disc golf in the United States at the professional level, how do you kind of compare and contrast those two things? And where do you expect those relative states of disc golf to be in, say, 5 years?
Well, I have some experience in the US, professional events. I mean, mainly from the US DGC, which is a tournament I really much look up to. I was able to attend the Worlds last year in Virginia with the city delegation. And I mean, after every day, we kind of sat down at the hotel and went through like a debrief, what we saw, what we experienced and stuff like that. And I think that one of the biggest clear difference between the US and the Finnish disc golf, like a pro level, is that even we were at the World Championships in Virginia, and this is not, I'm not blaming Nate Heinold or anybody else on that, but nobody didn't seem to care outside the disc golf bubble. Like there were very few outside, disc golf media people, nearly nobody, or there were very few people spectating like they didn't know about disc golf. Compared to what's happening in Nokia every year, we have like some thousands of people that are obviously somewhat connected to disc golf, but not that really. And then we have the national media and local media and, even international, medias there. So it's just like the US Pro Disc Golf is like a, tiny bubble in a huge ocean. And when you go to Finland, it's like a smaller lake, but a bigger bubble, almost like the lake-size bubble. So it's just a different perspective completely. And I think that's even more radical in Estonia. I mean, Kristin Tatar is probably one of the most famous athletes in that whole country. And think about how far up to the list Paul Macbeth would be in this country. Not that up.
Right. Yeah. Do you think that will that start to push into the rest of Europe? I mean, I think that's been a big question mark for me about European growth, because if you want to challenge the US in terms of market share, it has to go beyond the Nordic European countries, right? You need to push into the France, the Spain, Portugal, etc. And it feels like disc golf is completely not a presence in those countries right now.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's Scandinavia and Estonia at the moment. There are some activities in Central Europe, but it has the similar challenges than the US, that there are so many other things and so many other bigger sports than disc golf. So I don't really have like a clear answer how to conquer the France. I mean, it's really difficult to say from my perspective, but obviously it's a long-term play. But what I would say from the world's perspective is that we definitely, I mean, our tournament is already showing that this was the right decision to bring the Worlds here, or actually in Finland. And also, I think that the news that we just heard from Estonia is going to be another step into the right direction. I think my personal mission is to make disc golf a global sport, and I mean I don't know any better way to do it like this. For example, we have 46 countries registered to this event. So we ended up a discussion 2 weeks ago when we got this number that city of Tampere has only 40 flagpoles. So we had to order 10 more flagpoles to the city just because of this event.
That's incredible. I mean, that's such a nice anecdote that I think highlights the kind of event that this is going to be this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, I've been doing this over 20 years, like running bigger events, and I'm not trying to sell this up. There is less than 100 days to go, but I've never felt this much of attention and pressure coming towards to us at the moment. And we're still, 100 days out. So typically the attention comes like 2 weeks prior to the event. So it's going to be crazy.
I want to ask about the sponsorship side of this event. You posted on LinkedIn that you've now eclipsed 150,000 euros in partnerships thanks to the deal you signed with Haribo. I know it as a gummy candy company, and maybe they do other candy too, but gummies. How did this come about? And I'm actually really curious, what the on-site activations are going to look like. Is there going to be giant gummy bears around or something?
Yeah, they actually asked for that. So if they can bring the bear, and we said, why not?
The bear. True story. But yeah, I mean, Haribo has been part of the disc golf in Finland for a few years. I mean, they've been sponsoring the Finnish nationals, and I actually had my first discussions with them were over a year ago when we were kind of trying to get them lined up with the European Open just to see, okay, what it's going to be coming into the Worlds. At that time, it didn't go through because I think they already had made their commitments to the Nationals 24. But now, I mean, I'm not running our sales. It's the Lauri from our team is running our partnership sales. And basically we just had obviously this contact and we started to discuss and now we are here where they are one of our main partners. And that's kind of a testament of what the Worlds means, because these companies are putting real money for this event, and also they want to have a real exposure and real publicity out of it. So for example, in specifically Haribo's case, they are dressing up the holes 17 on both courses, and we will potentially see Haribo bear there too.
I love the idea of just a giant bear staring at the basket, staring at you as you putt on hole 17. I think where it needs to be up on the hill on the right, so that if you go OB left on the road, you have to putt uphill just staring the bear in the face with behind the basket. That's where I want this giant gummy bear to go. Jussi, when you look at sponsorships, the ticket sales that you've done, projecting kind of from a vendor village element as well, what do you expect the big financial picture to look like from this event? Whether that's payout, an actual profit from it, etc.
Yeah, the original budget was 600-ish thousand to build this event, and now it has blown up to 850. So obviously we have faced a lot more expenses down the road because we need to facilitate 1,000 VIP customers and kind of we have overblown obviously the expenses, but on the other side, in the positive side, we're also overblown ticket sales and partnership sales and everything else. So it's kind of I would say net neutral. We are not trying to really make a profit out of this, because this is more like a mission for me to show what we can actually achieve together with everybody. So this is going to be a little less than €1 million. So I would say $1 million budget event. And one thing that I want to be very open, and I've been open to this with the PDGA and Duck also, is that we're not trying to basically scoop up as much prize money as possible. We're actually trying to make as great event as possible. And this is something that I'm pretty passionate to discuss, because I mean, of course, I want our players to be able to play and get, food on the table for disc golf as a professional sport. But also I clearly see that we can't keep, giving most of the, revenues to the players from these events, because then we can't build anything. Because if the money is just flowing through these events majorly, then we're not able to build anything sustainable. And now we already witnessed that when we had a Corona boom, everything went up, everybody got more money, and then that ended up to the players actually. Though the players were signing the biggest contracts of their lives, and now when we're down with the disc sales, I haven't heard $1 million contract deals in the last 2 years. I mean, it's just non-existent. So I want to build a foundation or platform where these events are actually driving this sport, not the the pro contracts, because obviously that's important, but I think it's more important to build the platform.
Well, we need the media product and the spectator product to be really good if the money is to exist in the industry. Like, I think people sometimes get the causations wrong. It's like great players will always be here playing professional disc golf, and that part is assured in some ways. Like, great players are going to find the game and play the game, but we are not guaranteed to have great events or a sustainable tour. I actually wanted to ask you about Disc Golf World Tour and like your attempt there, and then kind of what the Pro Tour has become. Do you feel like you were just too early? Like, what was the problem with the World Tour? Because in many ways, it feels like you had the vision for what the Pro Tour is essentially becoming. I mean, it's obviously more localized to the United States than what you had in mind. But from the professionalism perspective, and
I think you're right. I think we were a bit too early, but also we didn't have the means and the resources continuing after the 2 years, because obviously that would have meant that I would need to dedicate, and many others would need to dedicate full time to make that tour happen. And at the time, I had a growing company that I wanted to put more emphasis. So I was kind of doing double duty, and that was tearing a lot of things off and apart. So I had to make the decision also for me and Discmania that I wanted to basically go with that instead of just trying to pursue something that is not there yet. Unfortunately, there was Steve Dodge that had the similar ideas, and he had less other things, I would say, on the other plates, that he was able to push that moving. And then obviously Todd and Jeff coming along afterwards and kind of taking to another level. But it's also, I've been doing a little research for these kind of things, and like you mentioned, the media product, I think that's exactly what we need to do. For example, we don't have this sport in Finland, but there is a sport called the cornhole, which is a very funny thing.
Super American.
And I was doing a little bit of research with the artificial intelligence, and what I learned is that the cornhole has like this ACL championship that is approximately a $10 million production, and they have like the full tour with the ESPN network. And the ESPN, obviously it's not the public information, but what I was able to dig out is that it's a low 7-figure deal with the ESPN and cornhole. And I'm just thinking, when I was looking this in my working room, and I was thinking that how is this even possible that we don't have anything near that? And our product and our sport is much more interesting, in my opinion. It's much more, lucrative. But I think that especially these events that we are running now and making our best shot for the world and upcoming worlds, I think those are the best opportunities to actually crack the code. If there is a one tournament that can do it, that's the worlds, that can make it to the next level. I don't unfortunately see that another Jonesboro would make a difference. It's just, it's not there.
Emporia. I know that YLE, a big broadcaster in Finland, is going to be airing this live, and they signed a deal with the Disc Golf Network. How big of a deal do you think that is, like locally in Finland?
Well, it's very big locally because YLE is a BBC, CNN type of level actor, and I haven't obviously discussed because this is a DGN discussion, so I'm not making those discussions. But of course, I've been discussing with the YELA multiple times with these, and my estimation is that through them, this final day will be broadcasted on national TV network, TV2, which obviously on Sunday afternoon, early evening, it's going to reach 300 to 500,000 people in Finland, which is, 5 to 10% of the Finnish population will see this. That's my estimation. I don't know the DGN numbers, but I would expect that they would have anywhere between 10 to 50,000 live viewers on the best worlds ever. But this will basically be 10 times more. So that's kind of what I'm expecting, that this will be not only on site, the biggest event attended ever, but it will be also the biggest live audience ever on disc golf, maybe by a magnitude.
You talk about and I completely agree. I don't want to imply that I'm not agreeing with you. I completely agree that this event has the capacity to demonstrate a level of disc golf that has never been seen before at any event in any continent. The question then that I have, in your view, how do we leverage that? How do we leverage the momentum that's going to come out of this World Championship, especially given the risk to a Nokia tournament moving forward?
That's a good question. I think in Finland, in national level, it's going to be a great impact for the local disc golf activities. And I know that our national association and obviously nearby clubs are making efforts of gaining that exposure and more people under the disc golf umbrella. That's one thing that we are definitely going to see and have in local level. But in international level, let's be honest, this is a big event for us, but it's not a really big event for outside Finland, outside our bubble. But I think the biggest thing that we can do is that we learn from this. We're really pushing hard to make this experience for the players, spectators, media, everybody, like it's going to be a big event. And obviously we are capturing it multiple angles, multiple cameras. So this is kind of a template or benchmark that we can push the future events forward. So I know that I was discussing with the Estonia crew a couple of days ago, and I was inviting them to follow our event because it's 2 weeks after their own. So they are coming to see our production and our show, which will hopefully lead into some aha moments for them. And that's how things are growing. But obviously, this is a really difficult discussion from the US perspective because obviously we are other side of the world, and it's going to be difficult to capitalize the momentum from this event to the US. But obviously it's possible, but I think that the PDGA has the biggest role on that.
How would you assess Well, actually, let me back up. What kind of involvement do you have right now in Discmania, House of Discs, and the manufacturing side of the industry?
Well, I'm at the Discmania office in Colorado right now, so I'm definitely part of the company. Obviously, my main focus now is 90%, the worlds. So I'm doing my work now mainly from the board level, behind the scenes. But of course, I mean, I was yesterday discussing about new innovation and stuff like that. So I'm involved every day, but not in the operative level. So I really like also that. I mean, I've been doing this 26 years. So it's a long time. So I need a breather too. So, and I'm happy to see that our people are elevating themselves when they are not relying on my decisions or my opinions all the time. So they are making their own, and it's important for the growth of the company, of course.
How would you?
Sorry, real
Josh,
fast, Charlie. That innovation, is that disc side innovation?
Yes, and
What
I'm really excited about it. So we have running tests. I'm not going to disclose more about this thing, but we've been running a test about new disc and disc technology, and I mean, it's not going to come this year, but maybe next year.
I'm excited. Farther flying discs, it's coming. How would you assess the state of the industry right now? Are we coming back out the other side of the slowdown?
I really can't speak from the others, but at least from our perspective, we are now actually getting stabilization of the sales. Like, it has been rough 2 years for us for what comes to the sales, no question about it. But I think that now we are seeing that, okay, now there are like positive things. We are gaining compared to the last year, instead of just going little lower and little lower all the time. So that's kind of a good thing, and that gives me kind of a good kind of a footing to kind of see where the level is. But obviously the level is not at the peak like it was in 21, 22, but also it's good to know that it's more than it was pre-pandemic. So there are certainly, more business to be made in disc golf than pre-pandemic, but obviously also the competition is, of course, I would say tougher, because there are I think there are like four big companies that are basically sharing the majority of the market share.
It's so interesting how COVID reshaped that landscape when you talk about the four big companies, because that is not the way we would have talked about it prior to COVID. So, yeah, definitely an interesting update on that side. Are you primarily involved with just the Discmania brand underneath House of Discs? Or, mentioning this kind of board of directors, bigger picture side, are you involved with other brands as well?
On the strategic and board level, yes. Of course, I'm part of everything. So that's kind of the role. But what comes to really like products and marketing, that's pretty much exclusively Discmania, what I can contribute at the moment. I mean, we have a lot of brands in our company, so it's just physically impossible to be part of everything. Like, it's not possible. There is so many things happening, and it's important that, I mean, I have learned as a brand manager that you can't really concentrate multiple brands at the same time. Like, it's really hard if you're a creative person and you are coming into the work, Monday morning, 8:00, and now you're put your Discmania hat and you think about Discmania, what are the Discmania values, what are the strategies and all that stuff, and then you have a lunch and then you put another hat. It's kind of an impossible for brand people to do that in effectively, like putting that effort to the one thing is always the best in my opinion. So of course that needs to be kind of designated inside the company, that there are certain people doing certain things. So I myself, as a creator of the Discmania brand, it's still difficult to think about how others would work and how others would do, because I'm so wired for Discmania.
You must be, I mean, Discmania doesn't have a huge professional team. You must be pretty happy with how the season has played out so far. You've got your big American star now has a win. Nicholas obviously wins. And Ella wins to start the season. And Cadence Burge, maybe the story of the last couple of weeks in FPO. Is it? Do you feel like you've made the right moves over the last couple of off seasons?
What do you think? You just said it. I think. I mean, everybody would sign Gannon Burr if they could. I mean, that's easy choice. So you get what you have. Niklas has been a very, I would say, a surprisingly great asset for us. I mean, he already started to win tournaments last year. I mean, Niklas is, early 20s, so he's a young player too. So he's a killer. So he's going to be a great player for us for many years. Obviously, Kyle is one of the most stable top 10 guys for the last 3 years. He's not making too much noise about him, but he's always near or even on the top. So I would say that if we would have to put 3 MPO and 2 FPO players against any other team, I would like our chances at the moment. I mean, Cadence, she's I'm going to actually meet her today or tomorrow because we have invited all our team players here in Colorado for this promotional week. We're doing a lot of media stuff this week. So I'm going to meet her this week first time. And great, I mean, this is because of Avery's scouting work. Avery is one of the best disc golf scouts in the world because he knows everybody. He knows every city of this country and every place. So part of his work, we have got these great young players like Kyle's and Cadences and all this. So I feel very good for our team, and I think it's right size for our business and our company. And like I have probably said sometimes earlier that you need only one Michael Jordan on your team. You don't need multiple, Damian Lillards.
Catching strays.
I don't know. I just heard that player name. He's playing for Milwaukee, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a terrible trade, and I said it from the get-go.
I don't know the guy, but I know the Jordan.
UC, to your point, I said at the beginning of the season that I expected Discmania to have more wins, MPO, FPO combined, than Discraft, which, given the depth of the team. So I think you're only one win behind right now. I'm very pleased by that. So great work. I'm rooting for you.
I wanted to just circle back to a world's topic. How are you? Like, are there going to be some big spectator enhancements, particularly at the Beast? I know that, when I was there 2 years ago, there's a lot of infrastructure on site, like way more than you see at most disc golf events. There was, stands and this whole giant sort of VIP area. But, given the increase in the amount of VIP people and just how many people you're expecting on site, I'm assuming you're doing a lot more. Where will you put additional, viewing areas, and like what will those be?
Yeah, I mean, if you were there 2 years ago and you said that was a lot of infrastructure, then you're going to be surprised how much we are going to build this year. So just to give you some numbers is that this will be the first tournament, what I know, that is spending over $100,000 just for the infrastructure alone, like rents and building it. And I think we have close to 3,000 square feet of covered tents, restaurants. We have 4 restaurants we're going to build there. And we're going to build the first ever skyboxes for disc golf tournament. Like you can rent an 8-person skybox. And we actually have sold out those on the weekend. There will be, like I said, that this Nokia area is going to go under a renovation. So with the city of Nokia, we have already removed some trees around the whole 18, so we can build actually bigger spectator grandstands. So those platforms that you saw a couple years ago, we will not have of those. We're going to have, instead of those, we're going to have like a 500 capacity seater of the main VIP grandstands that are going like 30 feet up in the air. So it's going to be completely different look come July. I don't even know how. I mean, I have seen the pictures and drawings about those things, but they are big. And of course, we are adding a tent capacity, like I said, and more big screens, and everything will be added. So it's going to be, we're going to start building this event probably 2.5 weeks before the event, so we can get everything ready in time. So it's going to be interesting. And same thing with the Tampere. So the last hole, which is the straight downhill to the hill, is we're going to have like, we already cleared the woods behind the tee, so there will be a 150 seater spectator grandstand right behind the tree, but there will be like a giant double decker 350 seater just behind the last green. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to look more and more like a real golf tournament, those finishing holes.
As I think through, all the announcement we've had from Worlds, all the expectations, all of the kind of elements that you've discussed here, is there anything else? And I guess you don't know what to ask, and you don't know what you don't know. Is there anything else about Worlds that people should know as they're kind of 90 days out, getting excited, that people want to know or should know about Worlds that maybe they haven't heard, maybe we haven't talked about here yet today?
Well, it's going to be unlike anything else you have seen what comes to the Worlds before, and by many ways. It's not just what we do, it's just how many countries are coming and what's the level of play is going to be there. But also the cities. So, for example, the city of Tampere, which is approximately 300,000 people, it's a decent size of city. They are actually, we have a city hall here, and then we have a city theater here. There's like a 600 feet distance between in the central plaza of Tampere. That whole plaza is going to be a disc golf fan zone. We're going to build like a 500 people fan zone with multiple restaurants and giant, I think it's a 50 by 50 feet screen that you can actually watch disc golf live every day on the city center of Tampere with your favorite beverage. I don't think that we have ever seen like that. So even you don't get the VIP ticket, you can go to that restaurant area and have almost like a VIP level experience. And it's in the city center of, Tampere, one of the nicest looking cities in the country. And obviously we're not showing all our cards. So there will be some experiences that we are building around and in this tournament, but you have to be here to see them. It's not the bear.
You are now involved in professional hockey in Finland. Are you starting to shift your focus in that direction and feel like you're moving a little bit away from disc golf? I really don't know. It just feels like, given the uncertainty with European Open moving forward, that could become more of your mind share.
I don't think that the hockey will be anything more than I'm just a big fan and a supporter of the team moving forward in a big scale. I'm advising the hockey team and their management on certain things, and we are having, obviously, we lost on the first playoff round this time, so we're already out for the season. But the main reason I mean, there are two reasons I wanted to go into that business. One, obviously, I've been the fan and supporter of the hockey team since the 80s. So it's kind of it means a lot to me to be part of something like for real. And also this organization is, I would say, top 3 most professional sports organization in this whole country. So this is a really high level sports organization that I'm probably going to learn a lot from being there. And I'm not taking any operative positions. That's not the idea. But I'm curious how the hockey business for example, works and how things work on that side of the spectrum. So those are the reasons I'm in there.
Got it. One last thing. And this is a pan-Europe thing. FPOTs didn't really used to be a thing. The FPO players would play the MPO layouts, and that was true at European Open up until fairly recently. You also, when you launched Disc Golf World Tour, there basically was not really an FPO division. Do you feel like you got those things wrong? And have you been happy with the changes that you've made to like the T-pad layouts at the European Open?
I hope we can put this World Tour topic to the bed after this, but
this is the last time.
Yeah, it's been 10 years, Charlie. At that point, the FPO field was so small that there were no financial sense to anybody to make an FPO, division on the World Tour. And I know that, okay, it was controversial, but I would do that again if we would have the same situation, because it's not financially viable at the time. Obviously, times are different now, so I very much support FPO division or FPO disc golf as a pro level, because it's definitely there. I mean, I think we have like almost 80 registered players in our tournament, so that's kind of a testament for that. What comes to the tees, I think that we were just slow in integrating those things, because we really wanted to concentrate to the one layout, because I mean, it brings a lot of complexity for the course design, spectator experience design, and everything to have like a multiple layouts on the same property. It's not easy task. And of course, I understand that some of the holes might have been in the past too long for the FPO, but I think we have tackled that pretty well over the last couple of years. So I feel really confident and good for the Worlds, for example. We don't have I don't think that we have a single hole that is unreachable to birdie for FPO. Obviously, you can have a par 4 as a par 5, and there you go. But also what comes to the landing zones and the design and elements on the hole. So yes, I would say that we definitely were slow to accommodate this very small, at the time, group of people. But obviously now, being the much bigger group of the people, it's very important. And I think that we're not there yet, but there will be probably a time when there is a discussion that whether there is an FPO and MPO at the same time. I mean, professional golf has already different tournaments and different tours for that, because they have physically totally different. I mean, try to put FPO players to the Masters. I mean, I don't know what that would look like even. I mean, it's just, I think they deserve their own Masters and their own, tournaments. So hopefully our FPO will grow out from our MPO side field. That's what I feel, and that's what I hope.
What do you think the legacy of this World Championships is going to be? As it's almost guaranteed to break a lot of records in various ways.
Somebody asked me this same thing, but my main goal is to make this how I envisioned this to be. I like the real World Championships. So in my opinion, we are doing the first real World Championships in this sport, like what comes to the nationalities and representation of the nationalities. But also, of course, we want to showcase, I would say this, that the biggest prize for me will be that when this tournament is over and all those 300-ish players from almost 50 different countries will travel back to their countries, and basically they have that experience that, hey, I was in Finland, it was an awesome, hopefully it didn't rain, but it was an awesome tournament, and there were such a cool things that I want to basically just start pushing in New Zealand, start pushing in Croatia or wherever, spread this kind of ideas and concepts to the other countries of of the world. Just like I was when I was junior player playing my first Stockholm Open, that was one of the biggest tournaments at the time. I remember clearly I was like 18, 19 years old, traveling back home and thinking that was awesome and I want to do that better in Finland. So I hope that somebody will have these same feelings and make it bigger and better, come 20 years. Hopefully sooner.
Awesome. Well, I'm bummed I'm not going to be there in person, but I'm certainly looking forward to the event and super excited to see just how big it is. And oh man, it's going to be crazy to hear 10,000+ people cheering for shots on Championship Sunday. That's going to be something else.
It is. It will be.
Jussi, thank you so much. Always appreciate your time.
Thank you, Charlie and Charles, and I hope that your DGN deals are good for this tournament that you can watch.
Awesome. Jussi Meresmaa with us here on the Upshot. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Upshot. Well, Josh, a lot to chew on from that interview. I'm all bulled up on disc golf night right now. Like I'm ready to run through a wall. This is going to be an insane tournament.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievable.
It sounds like 10,000 is a conservative estimate at this point for what we're going to expect on Sunday.
Like I don't want to go too crazy right now, but could you I'm trying to picture what 15,000 people at the Beast is going to look like.
Here's what I'm going to say. This is one. Let's say you're going, okay?
Yep.
Let's say you're going, right?
Yep.
And you have a GA ticket.
Yeah.
You need to pick a spot and park your butt there and stay the whole time. Because if you try to walk around and follow, you're going to have a bad time.
Yep.
You're not going to see. And if you're just insistent on wanting to watch 18, which I actually don't necessarily know is the play. But let's say you want that, right? You want to be there for the final putts, and then you're going to have to probably just get a VIP ticket. I don't think it's worth, it's going to be 12, 15 people deep on the lines. Mm-hmm. It's going to be nuts.
At the Masters, did you see when they were playing the 18th hole for the playoff, people, instead of going to the 18th, went to, I don't remember what the second hole in the playoff is, but they went and started setting up at the second hole, hoping that it would
get to them. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, that's the level we're talking about here. Is if you are going to have to be going in advance, forfeiting seeing some things, because if you try and see it all, you're gonna have a bad experience seeing all of it.
I mean, just think about the scope of this tournament. It's almost it's hard to believe how big disc golf has gotten. And I mean, I hope the tournament, the competition, lives up to the event. I think it will, but it's always a risk over a 5-rounder that Kristen and Gannon just say see ya. But it's still gonna be exciting. It's just
I have I'm just going to give fair warning right now. Isaac, if you go up by more than 3 strokes at the end of day Saturday, I am going to get a European bouncer to come and visit you at your hotel room. Because for some reason, when Isaac gets 3 strokes up, just
curtains.
It's curtains. And I won't have it. I will not have it. You can 3-peat, Isaac. That is fine. You have to do it in dramatic fashion, though. So if you're up 3 strokes on Saturday, just... You might need to get your own security guard, because I'm going to be sending somebody your way.
Josh Mansfield threatening professional disc golfers live on the air.
I will not stand for it here. I will not stand for a boring Worlds.
How about speaking of Worlds, Estonia. Let's take a look at the announcement. So, multi-year plan centered around an elevated role from PDGA Europe and a multi-year agreement with Team Disc Golf Estonia is locking in that Estonia will host the European Major in 2026 and 2028, setting the stage for Worlds in 2029. And then the European Disc Golf Festival will be a Pro Tour event in 2027. We've never really seen this, Josh. Locking in a Worlds. I mean, it's one thing to kind of like commit to European major schedule. And UC basically explained, like, the European Open is a question mark moving forward.
Right.
But for them to give a Worlds already in 2029, like, this is basically unprecedented. And I think that, it makes a lot of sense. Like, Estonian government is throwing millions of dollars at disc golf and at this tournament. It is also not how things have been done historically. And maybe this is a sign of shifting sands on how the PDGA is going to approach Worlds moving forward.
I love this change. How long ago? 2 years ago, maybe? When the PDGA was asking TDs to submit bids for majors because they couldn't get enough, right? Come on. If we're going to do that, let's do it right then. You say, hey, you interested in running a Worlds? Come talk to us. Let's put together a vision. Here's what we're going to want. We're going to start working you with the PDGA team right now. How much money are you going to need? How long is it going to take you to raise that? Okay, you think you could have 2 courses ready to go with the kind of sponsorship money necessary by 2031? Great. 2031's yours. There you go. Start fundraising. Come show us your courses. Yep, we like it. That works for us. And obviously, the danger in going that far out is if something were like the Nokia example were to happen, right? You have a course, you let's say you award it to Estonia and they're planning on holding it at the stadium or wherever. And
then Adam Lambert comes to town.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's the risk you play. So you need to be ready with like your Nate Heinolds and Jeff Springs who are ready to host a backup Worlds, and you should have a plan for a backup Worlds. But I love the idea of building a team to help develop World Championships 5 years out. Love it.
Yeah.
It's strategic. It's long term, and I know people are thinking.
It gives them time to get this event ready, and the courses. This is a big thing. The EDGF course was
not good enough.
Forgettable.
Yes, I wish it was forgettable.
I mean, it felt like a mini golf course almost. Like it needs to get a lot better.
It does.
And for Worlds, they're obviously going to need a second course.
Yes.
And like, I tell you what, if we just run this course back the next 5 years, I'm going to want to die. Like, it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to have to do some serious work. And it's tough because there's no elevation change. Like, they're going to have to basically like create challenge with USDGC like innovations to hole design, right? Like, that's the only option.
Yep. It is. But give them 5 years.
Exactly.
Because now, guess what? Hey, hi, big Harborough sponsorship. Hey, guess what? We're going to have a European major here for 2 of the next 4 years, and then we're going to have a World Championship in 4 years. We want to lock you into a 4-year sponsorship deal where you commit this much money each of the years with a doubled amount for Worlds, and this is what you're going to get in exchange for it.
Sure. And I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, this is about 2 things. This is about the PDGA understanding that Europe is a major market that they need to spend more energy on. And it's about money.
Yep.
Like, this just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
This is how business gets done, folks. And I'll say right now in the Ulti World Disc Golf Discord, Ty Tanat, who runs the Des Moines Discmania Challenge in Des Moines, is very frustrated. He says, we've been working towards a 2029 bid as the 25-year anniversary of the 2004 Worlds in Des Moines. To my knowledge, there was no opportunity to make a bid or even notify the PDGA we wanted to bid. Worlds has had a bid process in place since I started playing disc golf in 2004. Apparently, that is no longer the case. And I think there are going to be some people who maybe were eyeing that particular year for whatever reason who are going to be a little frustrated by this. And I get it.
Sure.
But I don't know. It is what it is. Like, maybe 2030 then.
Yeah.
And I know it's not quite as clean for it to be 26 years later, but
yeah.
Maybe you think about it being a 30-year anniversary and you extend your timeline there. I don't know. I get that it's a change, but to me this is a necessary overall alteration to the way that Worlds is being treated, because this is too big of an event now to be doing it even 2 years out. Like, we need to be thinking ahead. And that's why we already know where next year is, where the year after that is, and now where 4 years from now is. And I think, we should probably be finding out about Worlds 4 to 5 years in advance now. Just makes sense. People need time.
Here's the thing that's important, Charlie. I can understand. I totally understand Ty's frustration here. I would be, if I were in his shoes, I would be equally frustrated. The PDGA, I think, would be making a huge mistake. Jeez, I can't talk. Would be making a huge mistake if they make this an exception that they just get to use when they feel like it. Right? If they say, Worlds is a bid process, unless we decide otherwise.
Except when we want to do it for money reasons.
Problem. Bad look, bad idea. Don't do that. If you say, this is the fundamental shift, we will be treating Worlds differently. We are going to create commitments further out. Please call us, talk to us. Let's start doing this now. For those of you who are interested, love it. I think that I would be happy to have Worlds be run this way. And then I would say, I want Ty, call the PDGA. All right, we want 2030. What do we need to do to get 2030 now? Let's talk. Like, let's come see the courses. Let's talk about the business plan. What can we do to get that 2030 contract set up, just like Estonia got, because we want 2030? Love that. I love that idea. I think Ty should do it. I want this to be a fundamental shift in the way we approach Worlds moving forward.
I feel like it's also just like Europe's different. Like, the way you need to treat the game plan for Europe is different at the major level. And so, like, I guess springing this on people is sort of, it's reasonable. I mean, but the thing is, it's most likely that the only person who's like really negatively affected by this is Des Moines, who specifically wanted 2029.
Sure.
But like, most other people are going to be like, okay, well, we'll do 2030, or like we'll bid for 2028 or whatever. Yeah. So I get it, but I also think like this is just a natural progression. And frankly, like, bids, like more traditional bid process might be starting to go away for World Championships. Like, all the other majors will probably still get it.
That's right.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. I will be curious. I mean, they basically came out and said that they're going to spend I think they said 1.1 million on Worlds. I'm going to pull it up. They posted on their website like their plan for how this is going to change things. Let's see. This year's major has a budget of 600,000 euros. This is quote from Matthias Voet, I think. With future events taking place on 2 courses, so that's a note. 2 courses for the majors moving forward at this tournament, and lasting more days, we're expecting additional costs of 500 to 600,000 euros. The Worlds in 29 will likely require a budget in the 1.1 to 1.2 million euro range. If anything, I think that's an understatement, because we just heard UC say he's probably coming up on $1 million, and that's in 2025.
Yeah, so right. I mean, that kind of money deserves a contract. It deserves a contract. So they can bank on that.
Yeah. The week kicks off this year at the European Disc Golf Festival with a special showcase event on July 15th. Coolbet presents Disc Golf Superstar Showdown X Trad Attack. Trad Attack is a popular Estonian band.
Oh, okay. I did not.
Coolbet presents, dude. Wild. Things are changing fast around here.
Things are changing.
Anything else, Josh?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. This was recorded on Wednesday. So if anything happens before tomorrow's show, know that we will get to it next week. You never know these days.
It's not our fault.
Not our fault. Thanks for being with us, and we will talk to you next week right here on The Upshot.